Goeiedag! Good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And as you know, we had a great live stream earlier. Well, it was actually yesterday your time, but earlier today my time. You gotta love time zones, haven't you? But in there we were talking, or I was talking about how the Chinization of South Africa is proceeding. And Pondoland is something I know a little bit about. Okay, Pondoland is on the east coast of South Africa, and it's kind of just north of Port St. John's, which is a beautiful area. It's a absolutely beautiful area. And historically what happened was that the Pondos were living in the area that is around Kokstad. But when the Zulus came through with their basic elimination of anyone who was not a Zulu, the Pondos shot off and set up their own little place near the coast, which is where Pondoland is now. Which is why when the Griquas came over the Drakensberg, and look, this is a big long story, and I'm not going to go into details, but when they came over, and they came down the Ongeluksneks Pass in about the late 1850s, and they set up Kokstad, and they took over an area which is called No Man's Land. It was called No Man's Land because the Zulus had basically exterminated all the blacks in the area. You talk about a genocide. God. Anyway, so getting back to the Pondos. The Pondos landed up on the coast, the east coast, between basically Port St. John's and well south of Durban. And we now have an article where China is now looking at building a port in Ponderland. And the way this thing has been put together is a bit sus. I'll put a link down below so you can actually read the article. But I'll give you the gist of the thing. The king of Western Ponderland's contracts with a Chinese company could see an untouched stretch of the wild coast undergo massive development. The same company has plans to dam the Orange River in the Northern Cape and put up gas-to-power plants. Is any of it likely to happen? Even if not this time, the paper trail speaks of the intentions at the core of Operation Fakisa. Sounds close to Fakamani. Fakamani is South Africa, huh? Yeah. And China's Belt and Road Initiative. Enormous development projects that are driving our changing climate. Okay, without informing his subjects, King Mangaliso Ndlovuyeneze Ndamase of Western Pondoland has signed a contract to lease a pristine stretch of the wild coast north of Port St. John's to a Chinese company. Among other things, a mine, a 10,000-ton grade port, and golf courses. The joint venture is supposed to include a Disney playground. Daily Maverick has followed the deal to the Northern Cape, where the same Chinese company has presented the potential for gas-to-power plants and the damming of the Orange River. See what I'm talking about? China, South Africa becoming a colony of China? It ain't rocket science, guys. The contract. As you can see, there are people here from China, said King Mangaliso Ndlovuyeneze Ndamase during his coronation at the Inyandi Great Place in Lebodo, Eastern Cape, on the 3rd of October 2018. And he said, I invited them because I want us to work the land and build these hotels, but all that will depend on you as Amapondo. Less than 2 months later, on the 27th of November last year, 2018, a contract was signed between the Nyandi Kingdom and a company called South African Hongli Investment. Now, this is the ludicrous part of it. At a price of 1 million rand a year, the former, which is the kingdom under this Pondo king, would lease to the latter, which is the Chinese, 10,000 hectares of land. You know how much 1 million rand per year is? That's like $70,000 US a year for 10,000 hectares of land. Something doesn't add up, I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm just going to repeat this. At a price of 1 million rand a year, the former, the king, the Pondo king, who was forced into this area because the Zulus pushed him out of the area around Kokstad. So, it's not like he was in the area before. The Khoi and the San were in that area before. And this is where the whole land ownership issue is just so friggin' grey. Anyway, let's get back to this. As you can see, there are people here from China, said King Mangaliso Ndlovu Ndamisi during his coronation at the Nyandi Great Palace in Lebode, Eastern Cape, on the 3rd of October 2018. I invited them because I want us to work together the land and build the hotels, but all that depends on you as Amapondo. Okay, I'm repeating that, but it's a very, very important point. Less than 2 months later, on the 27th of November 2018, a contract was signed between the Nyande Kingdom and a company called South Africa Hongling Investments at a price of 1 million rand a year. Now that's what we've just been talking about. The former, which is the king, would lease to the latter, which is the Chinese, 10,000 hectares of land, 30 kilometers of coastline on the east coast of South Africa, and adjacent waters in the vicinity of the wild coast town of Port St. John's. The contract, which has been confirmed as authentic by Daily Maverick, is remarkable for a number of reasons, but mainly for the following clause regarding the rights of the obligations of Party A. After signing the contract and authorizing the right to use, explore, and exploit the land, Party A shall clear the leased land within 3 to 6 months in order to facilitate Party B's use. Party A was listed as King Ndamisi himself, the sole signatory on behalf of the Nyandeni Kingdom. As proof of this fact, that he was required to clear the land of people and not say alien invasive weeds, there was the very next clause which read, Party A, the king, shall be responsible for removing the villagers disputing anything that arises from Party B, the Chinese, use of the land, and Party B, the Chinese, will assist. It's absolutely crazy, guys. I'm as I said, I'm going to put the link below to this article, and you can actually read the contract that's been signed. It is absolutely extraordinary. And so, returning to the notion of use, explore, and exploit? Why were King Ndamisi and South Africa's Hongland Investments, Party B, in such a hurry to move the villagers off this pristine stretch of Eastern Cape coast? The answer to the question has been plainly spelt out in the notarized contract as well. The joint venture company, in which King Ndamisi would hold a 25% share once construction had been completed, and after which Party B, the Chinese, would no longer pay land compensation, would build first of all a marine fisheries development base with a processing plant, a large refrigeration facility, and a fishery terminal. At the same time, it would build an agricultural development base, also to build what the contract was calling a Disney playground. There would be a large entertainment city with comprehensive functions such as leisure, vacation, tourism, food, entertainment, hotels, casinos, and golf courses. There would be a Pondo cultural village. You see how they throw in the ethnic thing just as a sideline? It's absolutely revolting. There would be hospitals, schools, and shopping centres. And you know who the only people who would be able to go to those? Will be the Chinese, who will be pouring into the area. This is not to help the indigenous black South Africans, believe me. China is moving in, guys. It's moving in. Big time. The next item was a big one, outlining as it did the plans for a 10,000-ton grade port to be constructed in appropriate places along the Nyandeni coast. The port would take container, mineral resources, and groceries as the main body, while promoting passenger transport and tourism. More Chinese, here they come. You know, they're coming in, boys. It's so sad. The existing airport at Port St. John would be reorganized to assist with these plans, then presumably to help offset the above-mentioned villages' disputes. There would be RDP houses, commercial economy houses, and high-grade commercial houses, which would all culminate in the 10th and final clause of the subsection. And you can read this contract, as I said. I'm going to give you the link below. This is happening in Pondoland, just above Port St. John, so just get over it. Okay. Which would all culminate in the 10th and final clause of the subsection, within the scope of national law and authorized by King of a Nyandeni Kingdom. Party B, the Chinese, shall carry out mineral prospection and exploration within the leased area and sign specific cooperation agreements when the agreements are satisfied. Now, that is what is happening to South Africa. You've got these African kings and chiefs and whatever who've got an IQ which, you know, I'm going to leave it at that, but it's not very good, okay? Who are being totally done over by the Chinese. They're coming in there, and this is a classic example. This same Chinese company has already done a contract in the Limpopo region and is building a power station over there and a whole Chinese setup over there. South Africa is going to China. And you know who the great losers are going to be? Believe me, it's not going to be the white population, because we'll find a plan for them to get the hell out of there. The losers are going to be the indigenous black people who once inhabited KwaZulu-Natal. And they're going to see what happens when the Chinese masters come in. And you have to look no further than what's going on in Kenya, where there's a form of apartheid already happening there, where the Chinese are only allowed to use certain rooms, trains, and bathrooms, and the local indigenous Kenyans are forced to use another set, rather like apartheid, which is what the whole big noise is about. But funnily enough, the mainstream media, no, they're not going to touch this. It's not in the narrative. All right, guys, I've burbled on enough. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. There's a lot more to this article, but I didn't want to go through the whole bloody thing, so I've given you the link below, so you can go and read it for yourself and see how Pondoland, north of Port St. John, on the east coast of South Africa, is going to become another huge colony of China. All right, guys, take care and have a great day.